Happy New Year from your boy Earl of Pearl and from your homie Cecil Shorts, man. Welcome to the first episode of the Ultimate 216 show for the brand new year, man. Happy New Year, brother. How you feel?
I'm feeling good, man. Happy New Year to you as well. Do anything special?
No, man. Just relaxed, worked, spent some time with God and just got myself prepared to enter the new year, trying to hit the ground running, man. I got so many exciting things that I'm trying to get done. I announced at the end of last year, your boy a teacher now, man. So I
What?
am I am the instructor of sports emphasis for Ohio Media School. So
Oh,
the
that's fire.
goal with that, man, is to create more diversity in this game, man. We need more people of color. We need more women in this game. We need more people that come from different backgrounds and different walks of life. And I feel like that'll help people do a better job covering these athletes, man, and kind of give them a little bit more sound mind when they have some of these opinions that they have. So looking forward to that. The Be Great Spread Love Foundation is on its way, nonprofit foundation. Looking forward to that. And
Oh,
of course, man, you got some big news that you want to share with the people. I told y'all it was coming, man.
oh
Told y'all.
man. Oh man. I am officially a part of the, and correct me if I say it wrong, the UCSS family. So it's
You
official
got it
like a
right.
it's official like a referee with a whistle. So I'll be on here, co-host with you on the Ultimate 216 every week. And then as the 2025 goes along, you'll see me on the platform of UCSS. So I'm excited. A lot of big things coming just from this alone, but it's gonna be a lot of fun, man. A lot of fun.
Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to seeing some of your wide receiver breakdowns that you're going to do. We've had a lot of talks behind the scenes here. Like, we now got a former wide receiver, we got a former DB, and we got a former quarterback on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show staff. So it'd be interesting to see you, Sean, and Tyvus actually collab and put some breakdowns together. I think that'd be really fun to see, man. Before we get into everything, we got to let you all know, man, to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to stay in the know for everything that has to do with the Ultimate 216 show, all the Ultimate spinoff shows, and of course, our flagship today. We're going to talk about the Cavs staying hot. We're going to talk about Stefanski's coaching staff, and of course, Deshaun Watson's quarterback competition. But first, we got to let you know that this episode of the Ultimate 216 show is brought to you by FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel's America's number one sports book, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get 250 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook gives you apps and everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit fanduel.com/UCSS to join. Again, you'll get started with $250 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's fanduel.com/UCSS. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment happen with FanDuel, an official sports partner of the NFL. So you read the article. I read the article. Uh, you know, crazy article that dropped today by Daniel on ESPN, and it just basically highlighted the mess and the turmoil that's going on with the Cleveland Browns and Berea. We talked about this some on the show. What were some of the things from the article that stood out to you?
Um, oh man, I think one thing that popped out was the Winston situation when
Hmm.
Winston was named quarterback and he kind of went to I guess Stefanski's office like, hey, I guess you're not calling the plays no more. Why is that not the case? I came here basically because of the under center play action style that kind of fits what I can do best with my game. You're not calling plays anymore. And then kind of Stefanski kind of like pushed him off like, hey, just trust our coaching staff. That's crazy. Like you don't do that to players. You have a conversation with players, right? That's how you gain trust. That's how you show your leadership. That's how you communicate effectively, right?
Hmm.
And the answer could have been whatever you wanted to say, but you need to communicate the answer like appropriately from man to man, not just kind of blow them off. That threw me for a loop. Another thing was I can't remember what player it was. It was a lineman, whether it was Batonio, whether it was Taylor. I can't remember who it was, but he was saying basically we have no identity. We were trying to run the Dorsey passing game with the Eagles run style mixed with the Stefanski play action, whatever it was. Like that sounds crazy. Like that sounds like you have no idea what you want to do. right? That sounds like a mess. Like you have to have your own Cleveland Brown identity. Nothing
Mhm.
wrong with taking some plays from Patriots and some plays here, some ideas here and ideas there, but you got to make it your own. And the way that particular lineman put it, it was the Eagles this and the Dorsey that and the Stefanski this. Like it sounded confusing. So there's no way you're going to have success on offense when all the no identity and you have no idea what you want to do. And I get it too because a big part of your running game was out with Nick Chubb. A big part of your offensive line this year, Callahan was gone. Went to Tennessee with his son. Um, but you would think there would be some type of cohesiveness from the year before. You went 11-6. There was none,
Yeah,
and that
not whatsoever.
it's that article was just not. I didn't get all the way through it because it was. I'm just like this is mind boggling.
Yeah, I think the part about Jameis really stood out to me because you hear rumblings and rumors, and you can't really run with everything you hear. But I think Tyvis said this on the show, and before Tyvis said it, I was feeling the same way. It kind of solidified my opinion on the relationship between Kevin Stefanski and Jameis Winston. It's almost like Kevin didn't want to deal with him. It's almost like he was just keeping him at arm's length, and was
Yeah,
willing to put him off on somebody else because he didn't want to deal with him. And for as highly as I think of Kevin Stefanski as a head coach, about how he's a leader of men and all of that, man, I thought that was poor management of a personality and a player. And it further along, now this won't happen. Of course, Kevin, by all accounts, is coming back next year, but it's one of those reasons why I was like, you know what, bro, maybe it's time to move on. I think something else from that article for me, the whole play calling situation. On top of that point, like some of the players found out about the play calling,
oh yeah.
situation when we did in the media. Like, how is that? How? How? Like that should never happen that way, man. When you look at the dysfunction, right? That's another feather in a dysfunction cap. We finding out at the same time that Ken Dorsey is calling plays as some of these players are. I just it screams dysfunction on a whole other level to me.
It's interesting because you talk about leadership. A leader will get up in the front of the room and say, "Hey, this is what we're going to do this week. Hey,
Mhm.
first 6 weeks of the year, I was calling plays. It didn't work out. We're 1-6. We need to switch up. We're gonna give it to Ken Dorsey. Ken Dorsey, I trust you. I'm hands off. We're letting him call the shots. Let's all buy into what he's saying. Let's bust our like. That's what a leader does in front of the team. So it's no surprises. So now when they go to the media, there's no articles like this to come out. There's no confusion. We're all on one page. Maybe it doesn't work, maybe it does work, but we're all on one page. And I know what's coming because my leader said it to me. Right. So the more I hear it, the more I'm like, yo, I'm not sure Kev is the leader of men that we
They
that we
think he
think they think he is. You see what I'm saying? Like the
is.
more stuff comes out, it's like, I'm not sure if he's just better off being an OC than actually a head coach, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. Two-time coach of the year, I get all that, but when you hear stories like this, and it's already dysfunction in the building, it's like it's to me, he just doesn't sound like the guy that needs to be continued in the building.
And this is coming off the heels of finding out that Mike Vrabel has been a de facto offensive line coach for the Cleveland Browns for well over a
Yeah,
month.
yeah,
Now, me and you just sat here and did a whole show about Mike Vrabel last week. Clearly, if we was privy to that information, we would have spoke on it. So again, it just goes to point out exactly how much dysfunction is going on. I think a part of our pre-show notes was, okay, if Kevin Stefanski is going to come back next year, he needs to take over play calling and reconstruct the staff. I'm gonna be real with you, bro. Let's the offensive side of his staff. No, I don't like nobody. I don't
really,
like nobody. I
really.
think Ken Dorsey can go. I think Deuce Staley can go. Whoever the run game coordinator is that he brought in that never coached in the NFL before, he can go. The tight ends coach, he can go. Wide receiver coordinator, they can go to. Like, I think that when he called himself, turning over his staff this past year, I thought that was a grave error. I thought he made a huge mistake doing so.
Mm.
I never thought that Alex Van Pelt was the problem. I never thought
Mm-mm.
Stump Mitchell was the problem. The
Mm-mm.
tight ends coach I had never even heard of. But what I did know was that David Njoku had made his first Pro Bowl and had the
Balling.
best year of his career last year. And so to me, none of your coaches on the offensive side of the ball was the problem. And then the only coach that you retained from last year's staff to this year was the wide receiver coach. And the wide receiver position has been suspect, to say the least, for the last couple years. So
Yeah.
it didn't make sense, right? And you hear the rumblings about, okay, was Kevin Stefanski forced to make these moves, or did he make these moves on his own? Was these moves like predicated on getting the best out of Deshaun Watson, or was they predicated on what was best for the team? And I think if we read between the lines, we kind of know the answers to all of that. So if me and you both know Kevin is going to be back next year, regardless if we agree with that or not, I guess what should it look like? What's the concept of a plan that he should have going into the 2025 season as far as play calling or what his staff looks like overall?
Well, Earl, you just said it. The concept of a plan. Do you have a plan? Like that's my thing. Do you have a plan going into the offseason? Like, do you legit have a plan? This is what we're going to do. This is how it's going to look. I'm Stefanski's going to be calling plays next year, and I'm gonna hire this guy as my running back coach, and this guy's my because I'm like, yo. Well, first of all, let's go back. You got rid of Van Pelt, and Van Pelt, no matter who the quarterback was, he was making it work. He was
Yeah,
making
it
it
was.
work.
He
It didn't
was.
matter who was back there. They was winning.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I'm like, yo, if I'm keeping anybody, I'm keeping Van Pelt. Like that was not when they made that decision. I'm just like, yo, what's going on? Is this an ego thing? Is this like a and then as as the article states, actually, as the article states, actually, this was more of a thing. It seems like that they were trying to figure out what's the best. Dorsey had the best offense for DW4,
Yeah.
right? The more of the read options and the more of the spread out type thing, which is honestly, if you are in the AFC North and you're playing in the stadium that you're playing in right next to the lake, you need to be able to run the football. You need to get under center and play action off of that. It's not necessarily a wide open type of offense that you need to run in this division, right? Not saying you can't, but you had success the year before, and then you get rid of those guys.
Yeah.
It's
It
just
was
confusing.
it was funny, but it ain't funny because like I remember when he got fired, Alex Van Pelt. And the joke was like, if I was looking around, I'm like, man, what I get fired? I ain't even do nothing. Like nobody even knew what Alex Van Pelt did. We knew he
Nope.
was the offensive coordinator, but
Nope.
Kevin called the plays. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like, bro, you the fall guy. I ain't even do nothing.
Yeah. That's a real
Like,
thing. That's
you
a
know what I
real
mean?
thing.
All I did was help you get 5 quarterbacks ready in 1 year. We go out here and we win 11 games with 5 different quarterbacks. I help you get to another
Bro.
coach of the year, and I lose my job. I lose my job,
And
like,
do nothing wrong.
and then do
Don't
nothing wrong. And so these are the things to where, like, when you read articles like the one we read earlier, they're gonna forever be head scratchers, man, because it just seems like it's dysfunction all over the place. And there's no concept of a plan, there's no real plan intact. We just out here winging it, and it sucks.
It's terrible. Like it's deflating as a fan. It's deflating as a guy in the media. It's like, yo, you would think coming off an 11-6 season that you would have things in order. That wouldn't be this much dysfunction. You have some dynamite players on your team. And now those dynamite players are talking about, hey, what is the plan? And if there's no plan, and I don't like the plan, then I may ask for a trade or I may not want to be here. And rightfully so, I can't be mad at that. I
Yeah,
really can't be mad at that. It's just a frustrating thing because now it's like, and honestly, it's just interesting because I feel like we're gonna look back 10 years from now, like, hey, this is like the Deshaun Watson era, and everything that was done around this particular player to make him succeed. From contract renegotiations to trading away 3 first-round picks to firing coaches to bringing certain guys in. I mean, just the whole nine to getting rid of Flacco. Like, there's all this stuff to make it work for him. And it's like, yo, when are the Browns gonna receive the actual good play that Deshaun is supposed to be doing. You see what I'm saying? Like, if anything, he should be giving back good play, like on the field balling, but it's just not happening. So 10 years from now, we're gonna look back like this is the DW4 era that was just flat out terrible.
Yeah, and before we move on to DW4, that part of the article, it is worthy to note that by the time that you all see this podcast, that Kevin Stefanski has named Bailey Zappi the starting quarterback for our Week 18 matchup against the Baltimore Ravens at 4:30 p.m. on national TV. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think that's starting quarterback number 40 since 1999 for the Cleveland
Against
Browns.
the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, man.
Hmm.
Yeah. So if you can go ahead and solidify that 3-14 record. I think the Browns is 18-point underdogs as well, entering this game on Saturday. So it won't be pretty. Now you read some of the article, man. Some of the article talked about Deshaun Watson and Deshaun Watson being in the Cleveland Browns plans for 2025. I think one coordinator, not to be named, said that he still believes that Deshaun Watson can win a quarterback competition in 2 days based off his arm talent and athleticism alone. I tend to disagree with that a little bit. But maybe if this was 6 years ago, we can have that type of conversation. But I tend to disagree with that now. Um, how do I want to start this? One, I want to know where you are with it. I guess I'll tell you where I am. I definitely understand him being on the roster for salary cap purposes. As of right now, I don't see Deshaun Watson being a part of the Cleveland Browns on the field plans. If anything else, if I put everything else aside, I would just say injury. I mean, that Achilles tear was mid-October. I mean, more than me. It's what, a year, 18 months for that thing to fully recover
Hmm.
before you get to training, before you get to football shape. And
Hmm.
so by that metric alone, Deshaun Watson is not even ready for OTAs. He's not ready for training camp. He damn sure ain't ready to be your week one starter.
Hmm.
And so with that, the Browns need a plan at quarterback. I don't think that he's going to be in the on-field plans, but if he is and he was given the right to compete, I have to remember he's a human being as well, right? And the human nature says, okay, well, he's a part of this roster. We might have our opinions about Deshaun Watson, the football player, but they know Deshaun Watson, the man. They're going to give that man an opportunity to compete. And quite frankly, if I'm paying you over $40-45 million a year, you
Yeah.
better get your butt out there and want to compete. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Regardless
Yeah.
of what people got to say, you
Yeah.
better get out there and want to compete. What does it look like to you? Like when you hear Deshaun Watson and you read what you read about Deshaun Watson being in the fold, like is it just clickbait? Like what's your initial thoughts behind that when you see Deshaun Watson a part of the Browns plans in 2025?
They're trying to make it work. Like they gave up three first. They gave up a boatload. They gave him a guaranteed contract, and they're going to do everything they possibly can to give to try to get every ounce and try to give every single effort to make sure. Okay, are you sure you can't play? Are you sure you're not, like, you know what I mean? Like, they're trying to me they're trying to make sure that this is not going to work, because you gave him one of the biggest contracts, and honestly, right now it's looking like the worst contract in NFL sports history, if you ask me. Um, and it's just frustrating because you're putting the team second. It
Mhm.
seems like you're trying to make Deshaun Watson the first. You're not even Deshaun. It's not even Deshaun. You're trying to make your decision first, and then it's the team second, right? So your decision to up your number and go crazy, that crazy number after Deshaun, give up that many picks, that many people, and it has not worked out, making you look like you don't know what you're doing. And I feel like you're trying to save yourself rather than save the team and make sure that it works out for the team. So I feel like you're putting the team second and you first. You being the owner, you
Mhm.
being the Mr. Barry, whoever's the one that's calling the shots, right?
Mhm.
So when I hear that's my first thought. But it's no way. I shouldn't say no way, because with today's technology, and the way athletes and trainers and athletic trainers and strength conditioning coaches, the way they can train guys now,
Mhm.
they can get guys back a little quicker than what it used to be. Um, but the question is, if he does come back, who is he competing with? Like, DTR has proven he cannot be the guy. Jameis Winston, according to the article, James Winston and Stefanski don't see eye to eye.
I don't see if Kevin is back, Jameis is not back next year.
There's
I
no way
think,
he's back, right?
yeah, I don't think he's back. And to be quite honest with you, I don't see now DTR still playing on this rookie deal, 5th-round pick. So bringing him back, it wouldn't make no noise. But if you're talking about upgrading that room, I probably wouldn't bring DTR back either.
You name your top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL right now.
No particular order.
No particular order.
Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen. Help me out here. I'm having a brain freeze. Mahomes, and I guess it's
stop right there. 2 of them are in the AFC North.
Mm-hmm.
2 of those quarterbacks are in the AFC North. The 4 quarterbacks we named are in the AFC. So getting this room together has to be the highest priority that you have. And I don't know how you do it or when you do it, but you have to make sure that this room, this quarterback room, is able enough to go out there and produce and do well with whoever's calling the plays. You just mentioned Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow as your first 2 quarterbacks that came out your mouth, Earl. Yeah. You play them twice a year. You play them twice a year. And then you're going to act all willy-nilly. Oh, we're going to bring the shine back and move the dead cap this way and that way. I don't care about none of that. Who's going to be in the room? How are you going to win? Like, that's just, man, like, you have to figure out that room. And it may not be this year, maybe years after that. Like, I don't know, but that room has to be solidified, and it has to be solidified soon.
I look at that room, and I'm in total agreement. Like, right now, when the season starts, I'm going to say we got 0 quarterbacks. So we're going to build this room from the ground up and start all the way over. So how do we do that? Like, how do we even start going about that? You look at the soon-to-be free agents, and the hottest name out there, or the name that people think makes the most sense, is Kirk Cousins. You hear guys like Sam Darnold. You hear guys like Justin Fields. And I don't think none of these dudes are coming to Cleveland. Let's start with Kirk, right? Kirk Cousins played with Kevin Stefanski before, very familiar with him, veteran quarterback. By all accounts, great in the locker room. A lot of people would assume, be a great bridge quarterback. But let's look at the other side of it. I'm Kirk Cousins, and I had a lot of success in my NFL career, minus this last year in Atlanta. I have suffered a season-ending injury. I am much older. I've made a lot of money, and I'm playing on my 3rd team in a city where my wife is from. Do I really want to ponder going to Cleveland, even though it's an opportunity to start in a dysfunctional situation? Or should I consider retirement? Stand right here where I'm at, raising up my family. You know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of people have to understand, like, these people got life decisions to make, not just professional decisions to make.
Facts.
And from a life standpoint, hell, even a professional standpoint, Cleveland really don't make sense for Kirk Cousins, even if he has the relationship with Kevin Stefanski. Now, you look at somebody like Sam Darnold, who absolutely is balling right now in Minnesota. And I think that relationship comparison with him and that head coach rejuvenated his career. And yeah, he can hit the free agency and hit the free agent open market and make a lot of money and go somewhere else. But if he goes somewhere else in a different system and don't have the same type of success, was it really worth it?
Right.
And so, like I told you off the record, I think Sam Darnold at 27 years old, his birthday is June 5th, 97. He's 27, same draft class as Baker. I think Sam Darnold actually signs a long-term deal with the Minnesota Vikings, despite the fact that they drafted J.J. McCarthy in the 1st round. Am I too far off in saying that? No,
not at all. I mean, when you look at where you are, you're competing for the number 1 seed in the NFC on Sunday night. Like, to me, if I'm Sam Darnold, I've done enough. I've produced. I've led this team. If you watch I don't know where I saw it, was ESPN or maybe a social media, when Sam Darnold came in the locker room after last week's game, the team went nuts. They love him. The coaches love him. The players are playing well for him. Like, it makes 0 sense if I'm Sam Darnold to leave and go elsewhere. The system works for me. The players love me. The coaches love me. Now that brings me the question, okay, if they love me, I sign long-term here. What are we going to do if you're Minnesota? What are you going to do with J.J. McCarthy? Now, this is where I think, hey, if Kevin Stefanski is running the offense, and his type of offense is a run-first type offense, right? The school up north which JJ McCarthy is from. Shout out to Tyvis Powell. I didn't want to say the actual name of the school, right? The school up north. If you can trade for him a third round, a fourth round, I'm not sure you give up a second for an unproven guy, right? And I know they gave him a first round, they got him on the first round pick, but I would see what the price is right for him because he knows how to. And this is like a bad term now, like how to manage a game, and he was in a run first offense, right? So if you can trade for him and get you some backs and run your type
And that
of offense,
offense was a pro style offense
it
too.
was a pro style offense. He had to make reads at the line of scrimmage and calling different stuff. Like he could be a good fit, and you're not giving up too much for him. You giving up a third, a fourth for him. Hey, I'll take that all day. And it's a younger guy. It's a younger
Yeah.
guy. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, is that something worth looking at? Is that something maybe you'll go after if you have to trade Myles Garrett? Maybe we'll trade him to Minnesota if you give us back, McCarthy and a few other things. Like, you know what I mean? It's just I'm interested to see where that goes because I think McCarthy can be a good fit if Kevin is calling the plays. I think McCarthy can be a good fit here.
I think that I could see. So you got some older offensive linemen on this team. Joe Batonio already said, "I'm retiring before I go put on another team's colors." Like for two inner city Cleveland boys, man, much love to somebody that love our city as much as we do, right?
That's right.
Like you know what I mean. So shout out to you. But then you got Wyatt Tyler with his cap number. All I'm saying is an offensive lineman possibly can be a cap casualty. You look at Minnesota, who are much closer to winning the Super Bowl right now than we are. I can see like a Teller, or somebody like that, packaged along with a third round pick to Minnesota to get JJ. I can do that because you just drafted Zach Zinter and last year's draft, so you do have another guard that you've been working with and developing, and you knew that eventually you was gonna have to play him. Now he didn't really look all that great in the times that we saw him this past year, but first year in the NFL, them the breaks, he was recovering from injury and things like that. Those things happen, but to hear you talk about it and when you lay it out like that, I think we both in agreement. A lot of people assume Sam Darnold to hit this open free agency market because Minnesota drafted JJ McCarthy.
Mhm.
You've played in this league. For
Mhm.
the fans and for media, yeah, draft picks, it sounds appealing. But for players and people that's in the locker room, we don't know what JJ can do. I
Mhm.
seen Sam Darnold. He going to war with me every single day. And if I'm Justin Jefferson, if I'm somebody that's
Yeah.
that's invested long term with this team,
Yeah.
you got a better opportunity selling me on winning with this dude than you do a rookie, even though I might think he got some game. I don't know about him. Another reason why that can work, the general manager there in Minnesota was the assistant GM here in Cleveland.
Mm.
So there's a
Mm.
relationship
Mm.
there, you know what I mean, that might
Mm.
say, okay, we might be able to work this out. So y'all let us know what y'all think in the chat, man. Like, what's the plan for the Cleveland Browns at quarterback? Did we miss anything? Who should be a part of those plans, and what route would you take? Because up until now, bro, I was kind of like, you know what, you in the top three, you got to draft Cam Ward. But if you're telling me that you can actually address this team, other areas of this team, without giving up a first round pick or a second round pick in this draft, and you can somehow come away with a quarterback,
Yeah, do it.
okay, cool. I'll try that. Even if next year is not as successful as we might anticipate, but I can try that. I can give me an edge rusher, I can give me a lineman, and I can give me a
Yeah.
quarterback with my first
Yeah.
three picks.
Yeah.
Man, that might be hard to pass up. Y'all let us know what we think. Real quick, bro. We ain't got too much time. Before we get out of here, it's a good time to let them know to like, subscribe to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Ring the bell to stay in the know with the Ultimate 216, Ultimate Cavs, Ultimate Browns, Ultimate Guardians, and Ultimate Buckeyes as 2025 kicks off. And we continue to give y'all some fire content. The Cavs, man, back-to-back wins on the road against Golden State and the LeBron James led Lakers. And the Cavs are on pace right now with the possibility to win 70 games and even break Golden State's win streak record, man. Talk about real quick, man, how hot the Cavs are, and do you believe that the Cavs can actually crack 70 wins this year?
I think 70 would be tough. I think 70 would be tough. But if you look at the chemistry, and I even went back and thought about the Golden State team that went 70 plus wins, right? And it was all about chemistry and them guys playing together. They didn't make huge moves. Them guys played together for years. So by that time was coming, they were just rolling. They knew exactly where you're going to be at. They knew exactly, hey, if you're in this defense, I'm gonna hit Clay in the corner. They knew it was just so cohesive. They understood each other. And when you look at the Cavs play, and I've been going back to December 27th, they beat Denver. That's 3 road wins all the way on the West Coast. That's a big deal. Like, you out here killing everybody you play. And then for JJ Redick to come out in the media and say, hey, you got to play damn near perfect to beat Cleveland right now, that's saying a lot. Like, that's saying a lot. So I think they got a chance to get close to 70. It'll be fun for them to get 70 wins, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
It'll be a
because I
crazy
think franchise
experience.
record is like 66.
I definitely think that's in play. I definitely think that's in
Yeah.
play, but they got to stay healthy, right? You got to stay healthy. They can stay healthy and continue this cohesion, man. I think the sky's the limit, but 70 would be hard. I wouldn't even care. And you got to wonder, too, will they start resting guys here and there to get ready for the playoff series towards the end of the year? So I'm interested to see how it rolls, but they got a shot.
So I love how this team is locked in. I love the fact that this team plays hard every single night. I think that understanding in the position that they're in as the league's best team right now, even though they're not the defending NBA champions, they're going to get every single team's best shot every single
Yes, sir.
night.
Yes,
So
sir.
mentally to get yourself prepared to play that hard and give every team your best effort, and as Donovan Mitchell said, their proper respect and proper fear to said team, eventually that can become mentally exhausting,
Mm,
right? And we don't want the Cavs to get burnt out chasing anything that's regular season record wise when the ultimate goal is for us to go out here and try to win an NBA championship. I think they can get to 70, but like you, I'm not too mad if they don't because I understand that the gauntlet that is the NBA schedule, that is the NBA's regular season. This is truly a marathon, right? You know, you look at 29 and 4, like that's what 32 games played, man. That's a lot of games, 32, 33 games played. That's a lot of games played already. And so you have to understand, okay, if you got bigger dreams, bigger aspirations, and your ultimate goal is to win the NBA championship, then there might be some scheduled losses. And if you look at the game against the Lakers, man, you could argue that was a scheduled loss, right?
mm.
That it was being set up for the Cavs to lose. Like the Lakers hadn't played in like 3 or 4 days. LeBron hadn't played since Christmas, and we're coming off a back to back against Golden State, who actually played us harder than what they
Yeah, they
played
did.
the first game. And so
Hmm.
everything was set up for the Cavs to come out here and take a L, and they didn't. I think the fact that they play hard every single night, I think the fact that they mentally are bought into what they're doing and they believe in what they're doing, that they're not going to let up, you know. And I think that the selfless leadership that Donovan Mitchell continues to put on display goes a long way in helping Kenny Atkinson communicate what the plan is, and then you see the results on the court. I said earlier on Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, when you look at all these advanced stats and you see the Cavs setting all these new records, to me, all of that is a pure indication of chemistry and communication.
Mm, I couldn't agree more, man. I think too, as the season goes on, with Kenny being in Golden State in some really good years and learning how to win and learning what's needed, is trusting him towards the end of the season to make sure his players are ready for the playoffs. Right? Once your seed is locked up, like, hey, we locked up the 1 seed or whatever the case may be. All right, now let's get ready for this gauntlet that's about to hit come playoff time. Because now you got to win
Mhm.
the 4 out of 7, 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, that's facts. That's facts, man. And we'll see how they get done. And don't forget, the Cavaliers are back in action Friday night against Kyrie Irving and the
Mm,
Dallas Mavericks. Luca will be out for an indefinite period of time, which sucks, man. Because like I really want to see the Cavs kind of like go against some healthy competition to give us a measuring stick of where we are. Or maybe I just need to accept the fact that you know what, we really are this good and we just gonna be beating the crap out of everybody moving forward. As always, man, we got a lot on tap for you all next week. Tune in to next week's show as we start to break down the Cleveland Browns postseason and the latest things that's happening in Cleveland sports. See, so any final words, brother, before we get out of here?
Now, happy New Year to everybody, and we will see y'all next week. Excited to
Happy
be on
New
the
Year.
team.
Facts, man. Happy New Year. Y'all know the vibes when we in the building, man. Be great. Spread love. Being great come with a price. Spread love is priceless. Till next week, we out. Peace.